Welcome to Story Time. My name is Mrs. Kirkpatrick, and I'm going to share some wonderful books with you today. And all of the books are about pets. Maybe you have a pet at home. Perhaps you have a dog, or maybe a cat. There's lots of other pets as well. And we're going to start out with a fun book entitled, What Pet Should I Get? By Dr. Seuss. Let's see. We want a pet. We want a pet. What kind of pet should we get? Dad said we could have one. Dad said he would pay. I went to the pet shop. I went there with Kay. And so we went in. I took one fast look. I saw a fine dog who shook hands, so we shook. So I said, I want him. But then Kay saw a cat. She gave it a pat, and she said, I want that. Then Kay said, now what do you think we should do? Dad said to pick one. We cannot take home two. Then what do you know? We saw two other kinds. Now how could Kay and I make up our minds? A pup and a kitten. They look like good fun. Now which would we pick? We could only pick one. Make up your mind. The cat or the dog, the kitten, the pup. Oh boy, it is something to make a mind up. Then I looked all around. I saw something with wings. I said, look at him. We can pick one that sings. But then, look over there. I said, my sister Kay, we can go home with a rabbit today. Then I looked at Kay. I said, what will we do? I like all the pets that I see. So do you. We have to pick one pet and pick it out soon. You know, Mother told us to be back by noon. And I could have done it. I could have, I bet. I could have said what pet we should get. But you know what Kay did? Do you know what she did? She said, fish, 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 fish. It may be a fish is the pet that we wish. Then I saw a new kind, and they were good too. How could I pick one? Now what should we do? We could only pick one. That is what my dad said. But how could I make up the mind in my head? Make up your mind. Pick a pet fast. Pick one out soon. Mother and Dad said to be home by noon. The time may be now to make up my mind, but who knows what other good pets I might find. I might find a new one, a fast kind of thing, who would fly around my head in a ring on a string. Yes, that would be fun, but our house is so small. This thing on a string would bump into the wall. My mother, I know, would not like that at all. So maybe some other good kind of pet, another kind maybe, is what we should get. We might find a new kind, a pet who is tall, a tall pet who fits in a space that is small. My mother might like this pet best of all. If we had a big tent, then we would be able to take home a yent. Dad would like us to have a good yent, but how do I know he would pay for a tent? So you see how it is when you pick out a pet. How can you make up your mind what to get? But what if we took home one kind of each pet? Then our house would be full of the pets we would get. No. Dad would be mad. We can only have one. If we do not choose, we will end up with none. I will do it right now. I will do it, I said. I will make up the mind that is up in my head. The dog or the rabbit, the fish or the cat. I picked one out fast, and then that was that. So the pet they picked is in that basket. But do you know what? You have to guess what they picked, because that's the end of our story. So there were quite a few different pets that they were thinking about choosing. And our next book is a little bit similar, but with pets that you might not want to pick. And it's called Not That Pet by Sumitra Prasadam Halls, and it's illustrated by Rosalind Beardshaw. Let's see what we have here. Mabel's family was picking a pet. Mabel, said Mom, you choose which to get. Yippee, said Mabel, and she chose an elephant. Look at that. He gave the best hugs. He gave the best rides with upside down lifts and down the trunk slides. He worked in the garden and planted the seeds. He watered the flowers and pulled up the weeds, but he trampled the roses and stood on the plums and squashed Mabel's strawberries and sat on her mom. And Mabel's mom squeaked, not that pet, choose something smaller. So Mabel chose ants. The ants were so busy. They marched here and there. They marched through the kitchen. They marched up the stairs. They marched around the bedroom. They marched down the wall. And soon they got lost since they were so small. Then Mabel's dad started jiggling because those tiny ants had marched their way into his underpants. And Mabel's dad giggled, not that pet. Choose something we can see. So Mabel chose a skunk. With black and white stripes, she thought, this will be right. They could see him by day. They could see him by night. He had soft, silky fur and a nose pink and wet. There was simply no doubt that she'd picked the best pet, but the baby surprised him by giving a yell, and that skunk went and made the most terrible smell. And they all held their noses and gasped, not that pet. Choose something that's not afraid of the baby. So Mabel chose a snake. Her skin was bright silver with patches of gold. She was so exotic and wiggly to hold. And she wasn't scared. No, that much was true. Pretty soon she had caused quite a hullabaloo. Uh-oh, she likes to come into the bathroom even. She slinked and she slithered with barely a sound. She coiled herself round and round, look at Grandpa, until Granddad sputtered, not that pet, choose something with legs. So Mabel chose a spider. They all took one look and screeched, no, there's no way. From the top of their chair, they yelled, take it away. All on the top of the chair. Okay then, said Mabel. Well, what about these? You know, I'll look after them. Please, pretty please. But the worms were too wriggly. The hyena too giggly. The bear was too growly. The wolf was too howly. The hedgehog was much too prickly to touch. The rabbit so shy that it stayed in its hutch. The leopard leaped out and gave Grandma a fright. And the owl kept on hooting all through the night. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Mabel almost gave up. She said, it's no use. There isn't a pet that's the right one to choose. Then she realized she needed something furry and sweet, without lots of legs or gigantic great feet. Nothing too smelly and nothing too tiny. Nothing too scaly and nothing too spiny. Not noisy or scary or covered in spikes. She'd choose something friendly that everyone likes. A pet that will like to curl up for a nap. A pet that's just happy to sit on your lap. A pet you can cuddle and snuggle and pat. I've got it, she yelled, and she chose a rat. I bet you didn't expect that was coming. But rats can be pets, and that's what she chose. Mabel certainly liked different kinds of pets, didn't she? Well, here is a story. Our next story is about a pet that a lot of people have. But this pet didn't have owners. And so this book is entitled Can I Be Your Dog by Troy Cummings. And this pet, he is wanting to be a pet, I should say. He is trying to find a home. So he's writing letters. Dear people at Yellow House, woof, can I be your dog? I am potty trained and I have my own squeaky bone. Also, I love to play. I see you have a cat, but I'm willing to work with you. Who's a good dog? I am. Sincerely, Arfie. P.S. I know every house on Butternut Street, but I asked you first. And then a letter came back and said, Dear Arfie, we're so sorry, but you cannot be our dog. Our cat is allergic to dogs. Good luck in your search. The Honeywells. Arfie looks a little sad, doesn't he? So he wrote another letter. Dear Butcher Lady, can I be your dog? I think your butcher shop would be a great place for a puppy like me. I could keep the floor nice and clean. Arfie. And you see the letter carrier, she is delivering the letter to the Chop Chop Butcher Shop, Arfie's letter. And the letter came back and it said, Look, pal, I've got a bone to pick with you. Last time I let a dog into my shop, a dozen meatballs went missing. Sorry, but there's no way I'm taking in a pooch. Veronica Shank, Butcher. P.S. No hard feelings. Enjoy these dried giblets and good luck finding a home. So there's Arfie in his box, eating his giblets and being pretty sad. Here's his next letter. Dear Fire Station number 5, can I be your dog? I can fetch your boots. Plus, let's just say I know my way around a fire hydrant. I've sniffed out every single one on Butternut Street, and yours is the shiniest, Arfie. And you see the letter carrier. She's delivering the letter to the fire station. Here comes the letter back. Dear applicant, thank you for your interest in working with the Butternut Street Fire Station. Unfortunately, the position of fire dog has already been filled. We will keep your letter on file. Best wishes in your search, station number 5. I don't think Arfie liked that answer very much. So he's trying again with another letter. Dear junkyard guy, I'm not gonna lie, you're my next to last choice. But these past few days have been rough. So please, can I be your dog? I don't eat much, and I can bark if people try to steal your junk and stuff. Hopefully yours, Arfie. Here's the letter carrier putting it in. She looks a little sad too, doesn't she? And here's the letter that came back. Dear Mutt, get lost. Oh, Arfie is really looking sad. Here's his last letter. Dear last house on Butternut Street, can I be your dog? I see that your yard is full of weeds and your windows are broken and there's a funny smell. But I'm not picky, just lonely, Arfie. And the letter came back, return to sender. Nobody's at this address. No one lived there. Last house on Butternut Street. And Arfie said, "Arr!" He was very sad. Here he goes into the alley, into his box in the rain. Very, very sad because he can't find a home. The next day is sun shining. There's a letter there with a heart on it. And it says, to Arfie. And this is what the letter says. Dear Arfie, can I be your person? I need a friend who will be with me no matter what, snow, rain, heat, or gloom of night. And I see that you already know everyone on Butternut Street. I know you'll make a first-class partner with hugs and head scratches, Mitzi Whipple, letter carrier. P.S. If you agree, meet me at the big blue mailbox. There she is. Remember, she delivered all the letters. She's watching for Arfie. Here he comes. Whoa, he's just bounding down the street. And look at there, they've gotten together. Dear Mitzi, you know what? My tail has been wagging ever since I got your note. My answer is yes. Truly yours, Arfie. P.S. Wolf. And there he is with his letter carrier owner, Scritch Scratch. So that was a good match, wasn't it? Arfie found a home and the letter carrier needed Arfie's help. Well, we've got 2 more books to share with you today. And this book is about a very unusual pet. And the name of this book is A Pet for Fly Guy by Ted Arnold. A boy had a pet fly. He named him Fly Guy. Fly Guy was the smartest pet in the world. He could say the boy's name, Buzz. One day, Buzz said, "Fly Guy, we are going on a picnic." Buzz and Fly Guy played chase all the way to the park. They ate lunch together. They played together. They looked at clouds. They watched other people play with their pets. Here's a little girl with the fish in the aquarium. Oh, this girl has a bear, but we found out in another book that wasn't a very good idea. Octopus, porcupine. Look at the person has to get all covered up with the porcupine. "Wow," said Buzz, "everyone has a pet." And Fly Guy says, "No pets." "Oops, that's right," said Buzz. "You don't have a pet. No pets." "We will find a pet for you," said Buzz. "Yes, but remember, you have to take care of it," said Buzz. "Yes." "And play with it," said Buzz. "Yes." "And feed it," said Buzz. "Yes." "Okay," said Buzz, "let's go to the pet shop." At the pet shop, Buzz came out with a puppy. It licked Fly Guy. Buzz came out with a kitten. It swatted Fly Guy. So those weren't good fits, were they? Too big. Buzz came out with a frog. It chased Fly Guy. "This isn't working," said Buzz. "Only you can pick the best pet for you." Yes. Back at the park, Fly Guy found a worm. It was too slimy. Fly Guy found a spider. It was too tangly. Fly Guy found a cricket. It was too jumpy. Boing, 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 boing. Buzz said, "Let's think about this whole pet thing." "Yes," said Fly Guy. "You need a pet who likes to play," said Buzz. "Just like you." "Yes." And see what Fly Guy's thinking? He's thinking about Buzz. "You need a pet who can do tricks," said Buzz. "Just like you." "Yes." There he is, thinking about Buzz doing tricks. "You need a pet who is a good friend," said Buzz. "Just like you." "Yes," said Fly Guy. "And," said Buzz, "you need a pet with a cool name." "Yes, Buzz." Buzz is pets. "Me?" said Buzz. "You want me to be your pet? Please." "I never thought of that," said Buzz. "Okay, sure. Yes." "There's just one thing about being your pet," said Buzz. "You don't have to feed me." Because Buzz didn't like the things that Fly Guy liked to eat, like, banana peels and remains of fish. Buzz said, "Do you know who's the best pet in the whole wide world?" "Buzz." "No, Fly Guy." "Buzz." "Fly Guy." "Buzz." "Fly Guy." So I think they were each other's pets. And most of all, they were best friends. Well, we have one more book to share with you about pets. And we don't even see any humans in this book. It's about 2 pets who are friends with each other. And the name of the book is Albert and Sarah Jane by Malachi Doyle. Let's see how they get along. I'm sure many of you have more than one pet. Maybe some of you have a dog and a cat for pets. Here's Albert, and Sarah Jane, the cat, were the very best of friends. Their favorite thing to do was curl up in a great cat-dog cuddle by the fire. But there was one thing Albert liked even better than that, and that was eating his yummy, scrummy crunchies from his big blue bowl. And there was one thing he liked even better than that, and that was eating Sarah Jane's even yummier, scrummier fishy nibbles. He'd steal one or two from her little red bowl when his friend wasn't looking. They always tasted so much better than his own. But one morning, while Sarah Jane was out and about, Albert got a little carried away with his nibbling. When his friend came back in from the yard, she was all ready for breakfast, but there wasn't a speck of food left in her little red bowl. When Sarah Jane looked to see if there was anything in Albert's big blue bowl, she found there wasn't a speck of food in there either. She went to ask Albert why there wasn't any food to eat, but he was fast asleep in his basket. That's odd, she thought. I'm sure he's fatter than usual, and I'm sure he smells all fishy too. You've been eating my food, you naughty dog, hissed Sarah Jane, arching her back. But Albert just snored and ignored her. Okay, said Sarah Jane, I've had enough of this. She turned around and marched straight out of the house. Albert opened one eye and saw Sarah Jane leaving through the pet door. She'll be back, he thought. She always comes back. But Sarah Jane didn't come back. She went to live next door instead. By that evening, Albert was lonely. By the next morning, he was howling at the pet door. Come home, Sarah Jane, he cried. I miss you. Albert spotted Sarah Jane through the upstairs window. He smiled at her in a doggy sort of way, but Sarah Jane ignored him. So Albert sneaked out of the house, went next door, sat himself down on the doorstep, and howled. Come home, Sarah Jane, he cried. I miss you. Stop howling, you naughty dog, hissed Sarah Jane, coming down to see what all the fuss was about. But I'm sad and lonely, said Albert. I want a great big cat dog cuddle by the fire. Well, the food's better over here and nobody steals it, said Sarah Jane. But it's lonely here too, without a big smelly lump of a dog to snuggle up to. Me? Asked Albert. Yes, you, said Sarah Jane. Do you miss me too? Asked Albert. I do, said Sarah Jane. Well, I'm sorry, said Albert. What for? Asked Sarah Jane. For gobbling up all your fishy nibbles, said Albert. Will you do it again? Asked Sarah Jane. I won't, said Albert. Will you even nibble them? Asked Sarah Jane. I won't, said Albert. Good, said Sarah Jane. So she marched back home, and Albert marched back home behind her. They had a little nibble from their red and blue bowls, and then they curled up together in a great big cat-dog cuddle by the fire and fell asleep. So those two pets got back together. I hope you enjoyed our pet stories today, and I hope to see you again sometime.